What's up, YouTube? Capital G here, talking about more cards from Dark Side of Dimensions, or at least the Dark Side of Dimensions movie pack. At this point, I have to wonder how many of these cards are going to make it into the movie, because it's not just like the movie pack that's giving us all these new cards, but then it's like Shining Victories and the Dark Illusions. Like, it just seems like there's so many cards. I don't know how they're going to squeeze them all into like I'd imagine like a 2-hour movie, because I mean, obviously Kaiba and Yugi duel, but then maybe they each duel another person. Maybe they have like a tag duel at the end, but they're probably only going to have like 3 duels in maybe each. So I don't know, man. It seems like so many cards and how to squeeze them all in one movie. But first up, we've got a new Vorse Raider. You guys remember Kaiba played this card on the TV show. I feel like he played this against Pegasus. It was a vanilla Beast Warrior Dark 1900 attack, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know what the defense was. But this is the Kaiser Vorse Raider. The dude is level 5 now. I think the stat line is the same, 1912. It's dark. It's a Beast Warrior because that's taken from the original one. It says if you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. Okay, so basically, what is that? That's not Cyber Dragon. That's Photon something. Oh my god, the Photon Thrasher. Yeah, that's like Photon Thrasher. If this card attacks an opponent's monster, or excuse me, if this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, this card gains 500 attack. Okay, it's not bad. If this card is destroyed by battle, the monster that destroyed it loses 500 attack. Why do I feel like that's Slate Warrior? I feel like Slate Warrior had something like that, where like a monster that killed him in battle lost 500. It's not a bad. I mean, it's nice utility here. It being level 5, you know, maybe you can open up some rank 5 plays with instant fusion and whatnot. It's not a lot of great rank 5s, or excuse me, not a lot of great level 5s in the game that aren't like machines and, you know, aren't monsters that like adjust their levels. We have Assault Wyvern. This is a light dragon, level 4, 1800 attack, 1000 defense. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you contribute this card, special summon 1 dragon type monster from your hand or your graveyard except itself. I think this card is really good, especially considering all the new dragon support that's coming out and the revival of the Great Dragon R. Well, I know the name in the TCG has changed, but I mean, just being able to get stuff like Art Brave Dragon, I think this card's pretty good. I mean, it has a pretty solid stat line too. You can use Honest, and there's a lot of good light dragons, mainly Blue Eyes and whatnot. This is Deep Eyes White Dragon. This card is very interesting because it's freaking level 10. It's a light dragon because it is a sort of a Blue Eyes type monster. It says when a face-up Blue Eyes monster you control is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the number of dragon type monsters with different names in your graveyard times 600. You should at least have one because you have Blue Eyes, so minimum damage should at least be 600, but there's a potential for you to be able to get, I don't know, maybe 2, 3, 4, you know, that's a good amount of damage. Effect number 2, if this card is normal or special summon, target 1 dragon monster in your graveyard. This card's attack becomes that. Okay, so that's essentially, that answers the question of what the heck is going to power it up, because it is 0/0. Effect number 3, if this card on the field is destroyed by a card effect, destroy all monsters your opponent controls. To me, this card is actually dangerously scary, because what's stopping me from throwing a Blue Eyes like a Chaos Max Dragon in the graveyard, right? And then just using Call and Haunted. This card can be summoned by any ways. It doesn't say that it can't be special summoned by, you know, any other effects, or you can just simply get this in the graveyard and then call the Haunted it and then copy Chaos Max, and then you got a 4000 monster on board. And then when it dies by card effect, then it's basically just like Ab Zero. Now it's not as good as Ab Zero because you can like get this card off the field by like Casto or something like that, and it won't trigger. Ab Zero would still, you know, like if you like tribute it with like Stormforth or something like that, it would trigger. But this card is actually kind of dangerous in my opinion, and it has the little burn damage too. Okay, this is Dragon's Preservance. Let's see, or Preservance. Sorry, it's a quick play. Oh yeah, this was one I didn't quite understand. It says target 1 dragon monster you control that was special summon this turn. For each monster your opponent currently controls that was special summon this turn, this card gains 1 additional attack during each battle phase this turn. Okay, so this is really situational because you have to special summon a card. You have to special summon a dragon that turn, And then, like, for it to really work, your opponent had to special summon monsters during that turn. And I don't understand why it's a quick play, because, like, you never activate it during your opponent's turn, because you can't attack during their turn. So what's the point? Like, it being a quick play is kind of weird to me. It should have just been a normal spell. I could only see this card being good against decks that maybe use, like, maybe against, like, Cosmo. Because Cosmo special summon during both players' turns. They tag out during their opponent's turn and stuff like that. So maybe against that, I could actually see some possibilities. But in general, I don't quite understand what they were going for with this card. Next up, we have Dark Magic Veil. Pay 1,000 life points, special summon one Dark Spellcaster type monster from your hand or graveyard. Dark Magician of Chaos. This is essentially, like, I know it's only Dark Spellcasters, but come on. Like, considering, like, so much good support for Spellcasters is Dark, everything from Break of the Magical Warrior to all the Dark Magician stuff to, you know, to what's it called, to Magician or Dark Magician of Chaos. Like, there's so much good when it comes to dark spellcasters. This card is dangerous. This card could be really good in Dark Magician decks, because it's just a quick way to get 1,000 life points. Ain't shit. So this is basically like a pseudo premature burial in that deck. I like this card a lot. Worthy of an ultra rare, I say, especially at this time when we're going into the Dark Illusion after Shining Victories, and we just got Dark Magician of Chaos back at 3. Next up, we have Dimension Sphinx. Actually, it's 2 dimension cards. There's Sphinx and Mirage. They both say activate by targeting one face-up attack position monster you control. Once per battle step, if the targeted monster is being attacked by an opponent's monster with higher attack than your own, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the difference between the attacking monster's attack and the targeted monster's attack. So it's... trying to think how to use this practically. I don't really know if there is a great way, because it doesn't actually negate the attack. Effect number 2, if the targeted monster leaves the field, destroy this card. I don't know. It's a burn. It's a niche burn card. I think I'd probably rather run something like Phoenix Chain over this. The Dimension Mirage is very similar to it. You can only activate by targeting one face-up attack position monster your opponent controls. This one is your opponent, not your own. Effect number 1, if the targeted monster attacks another monster, but the monster targeted for attacks was not destroyed by battle, at the end of the damage step, you can banish one monster you can banish one monster from your graveyard. The targeted monster must attack again in a row. Effect number 2, if the targeted monster leaves the field, destroy this card. I think this one is probably better, because I'm just trying to think of when your opponent would attack with a lower monster into a monster that wouldn't die, but you'd want them to attack again. Like, people don't generally ram into bigger monsters for no reason. So I guess the upside on this one, even though they're both completely niche, is probably higher, but I'm not sure about either one of these cards. Now, this card I think has a lot of potential in certain decks, because I think the life point cost is could be a little steep. It's called Spirit Swords of Revealing Light. So obviously it's supposed to be like a new age Swords of Revealing Light. You guys remember that card where it basically stops your opponent from attacking for 3 turns, flips all monsters that are face down, face up. Flip effects work at that time. And then I think during the 3rd end phase or something, it's either 3rd end phase or standby phase, Swords of Revealing Light blows itself up. This one is a trap card. It says once per battle, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can pay 1,000 life points, negate that attack. That's pretty solid. Infinite negates on an attack. It's basically like a monster version of Krebons. It's just a little more life points, just 200 more. But the second effect is what I really like about this card. It says during your opponent's turn, you can banish this card from your graveyard for the rest of your turn. For the rest of the turn, your opponent's monsters cannot attack directly. And see, that's important, because how easily could you put this in a deck like Infernoids, a deck that constantly mills, or even Lightsworn, and this could easily replace something like Necro Gardener, or it could even be like a better version of Electromagnetic Turtle, because with Electromagnetic Turtle, it's good in Infernoids, but the problem is sometimes you hit it off of reasoning and you're just like, oh my god, this sucks. Or sometimes you monster gate into it, or you have to, like, you have it in your hand and you can't get rid of it if you don't have like a Twin Twister or something. This is like a better version. If you draw it, you can activate it. If it dies, it gets Twin Twistered. You can still activate it from the graveyard. And then, of course, if you happen to mill it off of Reasoning or Monster Gate, you don't have to worry about that either. Same thing with like Charge of the Light Brigade. So I think this card could definitely see some meta play and some niche, anything that mills can run this card. It's not once per duel or anything like that. So this card is definitely has a lot of potential. I like it. This card is, I think, fabulous for any decks that have any aspirations of running Dark Magicians, or, you know, just synergy with Dark Magician of Chaos. And this guy's kind of dangerous just because you can special summon him by any ways. I kind of like that card too. So let me know what you guys think of these cards. Pretty neat. I like the fact that they're giving us new Vorse Raiders. Thank you guys for watching as always.